Petra's Emilia camp struggle. Page 4, edited machine translation. Griffith. By the way, that phrase, "I really hate you more than anything," is a really hearty expression. As soon as he sat in the dining hall, Dairy King Griffith Allen stroked his substantial stomach and said this with complete happiness. Their current location is Viscount Talion Aluz's mansion, which is also the venue for the meeting between the leaders of the western border. This is an important meeting that concerns the royal selection and will greatly influence the future of the Emilia camp. All the people present here are famous and powerful, and getting their cooperation is an indispensable condition for the Emilia camp to be able to compete in the royal selection. So what kind of debating talents will be displayed by Margrave Roswal L. Mathers during this meeting? This is something that has attracted much attention, but Petra. I made you laugh, Gwen. It's not embarrassing, right? You did a great job in front of all the Oji-sans. Talion-chan thinks so too, right? Aluz. Why even ask for my approval, however? This young maid really did not commit any particular faux pas. I admire her for being so dignified and calm in such a situation despite her young age, Gwen. Petra-chan, Talion-chan already has a young wife. You should tread carefully. Aluz. Gwen Dono. Viscount Aluz yelled with a bright red face, and Gwen Merritt flashed a mischievous smile with one eye closed. The argument between the two caused Petra to ease the corners of her lips and her cheeks to start burning a bright shade of red. Petra, who participated in this meeting as Roswal's attendant, her mission was no longer limited to the duties of being an attendant, but also shouldering a great responsibility. The reason why the half-elf Emilia was recommended as a candidate for the royal selection, the explanation, expected to clear the supporters' blind prejudice, was completely entrusted to Petra. Being forcibly entrusted with such a large and heavy task, Petra was completely surprised by it. The purpose of this is to allow Petra, who has no reason to favor Roswal, to speak regarding Emilia's character in order to produce effective persuasiveness. This is not difficult to comprehend, but what she doesn't understand is why he held back on such an important thing and did not tell her in advance. Petra. Obviously, had I screwed up, the master wouldn't have anywhere to go. Roswal, who has a truly rotten personality, never imposes tasks onto those he believes can't complete them. In the end, everything he made her do was well within Petra's capability, and it frustrated her. Therefore, even though Petra managed to claim victory over that sudden and critical battle, her anger will not waver. Therefore, Griffith's words at the beginning were an insult that Petra directed towards Roswal in front of the dignitaries as she was suddenly pushed onto the stage. In addition, the shame that Petra felt was fully vented and removed by Frederica on Roswal, so she felt very happy. But no matter what, Aluz, it's almost time for the banquet, so let's stop talking first. Petra. Then I have to help out as well. Hearing the words of Viscount Aluz, Petra hurriedly left the dining hall and went to meet Frederica, who was preparing for the banquet. And just after Petra left, Reynolds. Even that child's struggle is a strategy to seek recognition from us, right? Stranger. Reynolds. Originally, I didn't have any grounds to refuse the Margrave's invitation. However, if power was used to incur obedience, there would be a possibility of creating a grudge. So this is a necessary step. What's wrong? Sitting at one end of the conference table, the solemn man expressed his opinions. The mayor of the industrial city Costul, Reynolds Rex, frowned at the gaze focused on him. Seeing Reynolds's reaction, Gwen rubbed his chin's beard. Gwen. No, it's just been a long time since I've last heard Reynolds's voice, and I was thinking about what he would say during such a rare occasion. I didn't expect it to be this. Reynolds. Hey, being introverted is just a matter of character, so why did you say that? Keeping his poker face, Reynolds asked Gwen back. When he heard his question, Gwen shrugged, and Viscount Aluz and Griffith also sighed separately. Then Gwen looked at the door that Petra had just walked out of. Gwen. Everyone knows that it was just an act. Forget Roswal-chan, even Petra-chan, who made those remarks herself, knows it well. Too, in the past, Petra had always considered herself a smart girl. Once upon a time, she even felt that she was the center of the world. But this illusion was on the verge of annihilation due to the occurrence of a certain event. Having said that, Petra did not feel that she was worthless because of this, but instead, still believed that she was better than the average person. It's just that with such a firm belief, she's not allowed to make any mistakes. Therefore, she will not start doubting herself now. Her own persuasion strongly touched the hearts of those adults and prompted them to change their minds. Things are probably all developed in accordance with the plot set by the script. Even if some sudden changes were made, the results will not change. And so, a solid script like this was complete. Petra's struggle is nothing but an illusion that cannot get rid of the framework of the script. It is precisely because she knew this point that Roswal was able to scheme with peace of mind. Petra. Sure enough, I still hate the master. Stranger. Saying that out loud in front of your master, you really are quite something. Petra's words made the corners of Roswal's lips rise. After all the dignitaries went to the banquet, Roswal stayed in the meeting room because he still had something to discuss with his relative Anna Rose. On the way to the banquet after the end of their conversation, the two ran into Petra in the corridor. Anna Rose. Aya, isn't this Petra? That was truly a wonderful speech just now that was not inferior to my uncle's provocation tactics. It seems that you have been watching Emily well. Petra. Anna Rose Sama. Saying that, Anna Rose poked her head out from behind Roswal. In Petra's view, although Anna Rose is only 10 years old, she has a temperament and style not befitting of her age. She is an aristocrat who is more like a nobleman compared to the unserious Roswal. Although young, she deserves respect, so Petra bowed her head respectfully. Petra, thank you, Anna Rose Sama, but, Anna Rose, no matter what the outcome was, the dignity of your behavior will not be belittled in the slightest. Lift your head, Petra. I allow you to do this. Anna Rose, I shall speak in my uncle's place. Anna Rose said as she pinched Roswal's armpit. Seeing this, Roswal, who was regarded as an enemy by the two girls, couldn't help but laugh bitterly. Roswal, although I already knew it in my heart, I really am being regarded as a total villain, Anna Rose. Of course. Uncle's only achievements today are allowing Petra to talk about Emily's charm and hiring the best chef, Diaz. Petra. Is it Diaz Lepunzo Elemanso, Opline Fatsbomb VI? Anna Rose, does Petra know of her too? Petra. That's because I saw her in the courtyard just now. Suddenly, the little girl who spoke exaggeratedly appeared in Petra's mind. Although her name is that convoluted because her impression was so deep, she can just barely remember it. Now that she thinks about it, she did seem to be the chef who had been invited to prepare dinner. Petra. Is she famous? Anna Rose. She's not just famous. She is the legendary chef who can stop wars with her cooking and even make the divine dragon forget about its scales being touched because of its supreme deliciousness. If everything the passionate Anna Rose said was true, then she is not so much a great chef, but rather a mage. No, she has to correct that evaluation. Because the representative of the greatest mage is the most detestable person in the world for Petra. Roswal, actually, I have summoned her to the mansion before. Since it can make Anna Rose happy, then it was not a waste-off effort to search for her back. You can enjoy it. Petra. Stroking Anna Rose's little head, Roswal's voice sounded gentle. This is Roswal's way of pampering Anna Rose, and his attitude towards her has always been this way. Petra sees it as something similar to his bias for Beatrice. However, the awkwardness that Petra felt for a moment was not due to Roswal's twisted love. Petra, why does the master speak as if such a matter is irrelevant to you? Suddenly, what catches Petra's attention is Roswal's attitude towards it, as if that matter doesn't relate to him. At Anna Rose's side, whose eyes were like dazzling stars with a delicious premonition, Roswal said with an outsider's expression and voice. Roswal, it's very simple. After all, I have no sense of taste. It is only natural that I can't enjoy the taste of cooking. Petra, this is no longer a speech that can be described by the word unexpected alone. For Petra, this is truly a literal shock that shook her world. No sense of taste, what does that mean? In other words, the master can't taste. Petra, since when? Roswal, I've been like this a long time before you were even born. This is something you don't need to worry about. After all, you haven't noticed this matter until now, right? Petra. Petra was speechless. He wore a straight face while spitting out absurd words. Because not being able to taste means not being able to feel the happiness of taste. The taste of Frederica's cooking, Ram's steamed sweet potatoes, the taste of wine drunk at night, Garfield's meatloaf, Subaru's mayonnaise, and all the other tastes of the world, he never felt it. Roswal, this is something that only Anna Rose and Clind know. Even Ram and Frederica were not tooled about it. You are now the only one who knows about it in the entire mansion. Petra, what? Why would you tell me about this? Roswal, even if it's just one, you want to know at least one of my weaknesses, right? Looking at Roswal, who closed a single eye and looked at her with his yellow eye, Petra bit her lip. In an instant, Petra's mind was overwhelmed. The anger towards Roswal that had been vented by Frederica was now filled in another form. Petra, why, master? Why say that? Roswal, why did you have to say it like that? Petra will not forgive Roswal. Absolutely not. What is he saying to Petra like this? It's really irritating. Making a fool out of her by telling her a secret that neither Ram nor Frederica knew about. Treating people as if they were monkeys. Anna Rose. Petra, ignore my uncle's wickedness. Petra, no, Anna Rose Sama, I have already decided. Seeing the change in Petra's expression, Anna Rose touched her arm worriedly. Petra then gently joined her palms and placed them on Anna Rose's hands, then shook her head. Her course of action is already decided. Petra Leti is by no means a girl who will cry herself to sleep. 3. At the beginning of the banquet, Petra couldn't help being stunned by the richness of the dishes served on the table. The table is full of dazzling arrays of delicious food. From the selection of ingredients to the cooking method of the food, it can be described as a gluttonous paradise that uses all kinds of high-quality ingredients to create a fusion of ancient and modern, motherland and foreign countries' cuisine. Diaz, this dish is the ultimate display of moi talent. Use all of your 5 senses to enjoy it. The one who was speaking pridefully was the lowly chef, Diaz. The table filled with dishes displayed a style that matched her and the fat assistant beside her's overflowing self-confidence. Even if this ultimate feast is called the supreme work, there is no exaggeration in the slightest. In fact, those influential people who must have been tired of so-called delicacies can hardly conceal their feelings of admiration in front of Diaz's cooking. Diaz, how's the taste of Moi's supreme dishes, little girl? That's right. The person who Diaz asked briefly about her taste is Petra, one of the guests at the banquet. It can be said that this is the reward for breaking through Roswal's unreasonable means, Gwen's request to Viscount Aluz, and Diaz proposed the conditions for allowing Petra to participate in the banquet. Petra gratefully accepted these kindnesses, also for Petra's own rebellion. Petra, with just one bite, the moment Diaz's cooking was placed on the tip of her tongue, Petra's whole body was madly ravaged by its violent taste. Her small body trembled with ecstasy, her cheeks were flushed with wonderful pleasure, and her pupils were wet. She had miscalculated how shocking Diaz's dishes would be. It is precisely because Petra's cooking skills have improved by leaps and bounds during this year that she can deeply understand their vast difference in skill. This is the pinnacle of deliciousness that no ordinary humans can reach. After accepting this bitterly, Petra smiled. Petra, yes, it's very delicious. The sweet fragrance spreads inside my mouth. There is a delicious aftertaste left on my tongue and teeth, and the taste is absolutely wonderful. Because the taste is much lighter than it looks, it feels like you would never tire of eating it. Diaz, ho 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 ho, yes, yes. You understand, little girl, you are a master in the art of flattery. Hearing her thoughts, Diaz leaned back with joy and danced. Petra watched her reaction while peeping at Roswal's face. Roswal, listening to Petra's eloquent words regarding the cuisine's cooking and deliciousness, Roswal showed a thoughtful expression. And Petra burned this image into her memory, feeling secretly delighted. This is the taste of happiness that Roswal has always ignored and hidden. When making dishes, the cook will take into account the feelings of the diners. If the dish is the taste of happiness, isn't the cook the person who creates happiness? Roswal has always ignored this point. She did not listen to his explanation. Petra just accepted it. So this is the revenge from Petra, an attack that conveys unknown joy to Roswal, who has no sense of taste. Tell him about the details of the taste as much as possible. and she must do her utmost best to describe the deliciousness of the food so that the listener is mouth-watering, to the extent that his stomach is groaning before he knows it. Diaz, what's the matter, Margrave? Did you forget how to eat? Wasn't it you who called moi over? Roswell. That's right, of course. I am also very much looking forward to it. As he said, Roswell looked dazed and picked up his dinner plate. Was the moment of hesitation sent to his lips the result of Petra's revenge? That is, Roswell. It must be really delicious. Roswell squinted his eyes at Petra's posture as she was enduring the delicious impact and trying her hardest to describe its taste. That's what Petra interpreted from his current expression. And in addition, even Frederica, after hearing Petra's praise of Diaz's dishes, Frederica could not help but comment, Frederica, Petra really is skilled at flattery. After that, Frederica began to demand feedback about the taste of her cooking, no matter what kind of dish she made. And